We've all gotten used to AI that can talk, that can write, that can dream up these incredible images. But what if it could actually do things? That's the massive shift we're seeing right now in AI. We're moving from models that just spit out information to agents that actually take action in the world. So let's get into it.
Right, so this is the big question, isn't it? We've pretty much nailed AI that can hold a conversation. But the real challenge, the next frontier, is building AI that can tackle complex, multi-step goals all on its own. How do we do that?
And this image, well, it just lays out the entire journey perfectly. We started at A, your basic large language model. You put text in, you get text out. Simple. Then we got to B, a language agent that could actually interact with its environment, kind of like a feedback loop. But C is the real revolution. This is the cognitive language agent. It has an internal world, it's got memory, it can reason, it learns. It's not just a tool anymore, you see. It's the blueprint for a digital mind.
Okay, so let's really dig into that idea of a digital mind. This first section is all about what we mean by agents and why they are truly AI's next big step.
So what is a language agent, really? Well, here's the key thing to remember. It is so much more than just an LLM. An agent is a whole system that uses an LLM as its brain. It uses that brain to reason, to make plans, and this is the most important part, to actually interact with its environment to get stuff done. Think of it like this. An LLM is a calculator, but a language agent is a full-blown accountant. But here's the thing. Building these digital minds is ridiculously complex. It's not enough to just have a cool idea. We need a structured, repeatable way to design them. So the question is, how do you even begin to create a blueprint for an AI mind? Because right now, let's be honest, agent development is the Wild West. Everybody's using their own custom lingo, their own frameworks, their own unique methods. And all that chaos, it makes it nearly impossible to build on each other's work, to compare different kinds of agents, or, and this is the big one, to build agents that are actually reliable. The answer, it turns out, comes from a really classic idea in AI research, the cognitive architecture. Just think of it like an architect's blueprint for a building. It's not the final code, but it's that high-level design that lays out all the core parts. Things like memory, decision-making, you name it. And it defines exactly how all those pieces are going to work together. Okay, and this is where it gets really interesting. This framework gives us that blueprint for an agent's mind, and it breaks it down into 3 key areas. First up, you've got memory. And not just one kind of memory. We're talking short-term working memory and different types of long-term storage. Then you have actions. And again, it's not just external actions like using a tool, but also internal ones, like how the agent organizes its own thoughts. And finally, you have the engine driving the whole thing, decision-making, which is just this constant cycle of planning, acting, and then learning from what happened. So that's the theory, right? A nice, clean blueprint for an AI mind. But what happens when these amazing designs leave the safety of the lab and have to face the real world? Well, that's when they smash headfirst into a brutal problem that developers call the prototype valley of death. And this quote just says it all, doesn't it? The magic often breaks in production. That incredible demo that worked perfectly on a laptop, it can just completely and utterly fall apart when it's out in the wild. And let's break down why. On the left, you've got your cozy prototype world. A single developer's laptop, everything responds instantly. There's a human watching over its every move, and who cares about cost? But on the right, that's the chaos of a real production system. A huge cloud cluster, network delays, API limits, no human babysitter, and a very, very real budget. That gap between these two worlds, that's the graveyard where most AI agent projects go to die. So how in the world do you bridge that gap? Well, right now, 2 big players have stepped up, each offering a totally different philosophy on how to build agents that survive. Let's look at Crew AI versus LangGraph. This chart just nails the fundamental difference between them. On one hand, you've got Crew AI, which is like building a digital workforce. It's all about role-playing, and it's built for one thing, speed, or what developers call velocity. On the other hand, there's LangGraph. It's a state machine. It uses the mathematical precision of graph theory as its foundation, and it is optimized for absolute control. Okay, so let's start with Crew AI. Its genius is just how simple it is. You give an agent a role, a goal, and a little backstory. That's it. It perfectly leverages the LLM's natural talent for acting and staying in character. And how does it keep track of what's going on? Simply through the conversation history. This makes it insanely fast for just whipping up an idea and seeing if it works.
But there's a dark side to all that conversational simplicity. It has a massive, glaring weakness, the dreaded loop of doom.
And get this, here's what that looks like in the real world. When a conversation-based agent gets confused, it can get stuck in a loop, trying to fix its own mistake over and over and over again. This quote is wild. People have seen their costs explode to $7 for one simple task, all because the agents got stuck in an infinite loop, just spending thousands of tokens politely apologizing to each other. And this is where LangGraph's structured, controlled approach is an absolute lifesaver. It tackles these problems head-on. A shared state schema gets rid of all that confusing conversational chatter. There's just one source of truth. With cyclic execution, loops are actually a feature you can control, not a bug. Checkpoints let you save the agent state after every single step, so you can pause it or even have a human jump in to approve something. And crucially, recursion limits act like a built-in emergency brake to stop those costs from running wild. So how does this all work? Well, it's a beautifully simple and powerful loop. Step 1, an agent, which is called a node in LangGraph, reasons about the situation. Step 2, it acts, performing a task and updating the shared state. Step 3, a connector, called an edge, evaluates what happened. If it didn't work, it can loop right back to the beginning to try again. And step 4, the most important one. There's a hard limit and exit that guarantees the process can never get stuck in an infinite loop. It's controlled, it's predictable, and it's reliable. Okay, so we've looked at the high-level theory, we've looked at the low-level tools. What's the big takeaway here? How do we actually put all this together to build AI that's ready for the real world? And really, the big insight is this. The future of AI agents isn't total, unchecked, wild autonomy. The future is something called bounded agency. It means you give agents the freedom to be creative and solve problems, but you do it inside a rigid, reliable structure that you ultimately control. Which leads to this absolutely brilliant best-of-both-worlds solution that's starting to emerge. You use LangGraph to build the rock-solid, reliable skeleton of your application. But then, for a specific creative task like brainstorming new ideas, you can actually spin up a temporary little crew AI team inside a single LangGraph node. So you get the reliability of the graph with the creative spark of the crew. And this all leads us to one final kind of mind-bending question. As these systems, built with tools like LangGraph, get so smart that they start designing their own internal workflows, what does that mean for us? What does it mean to be a developer in that world? Are we not really coders anymore, but more like architects of these digital minds? Definitely something to think about.